He made a fortune.
My son.
And he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it. And I'm proud of him.
You are the bravest person to ever be on this screen, and we say thank you. Can you please detail for us, just to start, for our viewers, how was that interaction with Hunter Biden, and how did you get this laptop?
Well, it was, first off, thanks for having me on the show. It was April 12th of 2019. It was about 10 minutes before closing. Hunter walks into my shop, inebriated, with 3 liquid damaged laptops that he needed to get the data off of. After I started checking them in, I noticed one of the laptops had a Beau Biden sticker, and my mind instantly went to the thought that this was actually Beau's laptops, and Hunter was just trying to get his deceased family members' memories off of them. So I cut the guy a deal, which is rare and for a Scotsman to do, not a Russian, a Scotsman. And I checked it in. It wasn't until the next day when I performed the recovery that I realized that this was not Beau Biden's laptop, that this was Hunter's.
And so upon making that discovery, as the story goes, you reported this to the FBI?
Well, when he dropped it off and I did the recovery, his father hadn't announced his candidacy yet. So I was just like, okay, this is gross. And I saw a lot of money exchanging hands, but I didn't think much of it until 2 weeks later when his father announced his candidacy. Then I was like, great. Hunter's in possession of a piece of paper that says I'm clearly allowed to go through his devices to recover data. And somebody's going to see this document, one of the Biden fixer-uppers or the Secret Service, and they're going to come get this laptop, and they're probably going to take care of me as well.
What do you mean by take care of me?
Yeah, from what I had seen on that laptop, no family would ever want that material to ever get out in the open.
Yes.
And a powerful family like the Bidens that have spent over almost half a decade at that time in politics, I didn't want to get Arkansas-sided.
Do you have any shock as you watch this scandal unravel with the classified documents? Based on your knowledge of what you saw on those laptops, does any of this surprise you? May be the one person in America that this doesn't surprise at all. The FBI raided Joe Biden's house in Wilmington this weekend. Were you prepared for all of this?
You know, the first thing that popped in my head was, if I was Joe Biden and I was in possession of a lot of documents that Congress is going to be reaching out for in the next couple of weeks, I would want to find a way to hide them in a top secret envelope and get them publicly escorted out of my residence and out of my different locations. So that's where my mind went to first, was this is a cover up. This is how they're going to escape the congressional inquiries, by whisking these documents out, and they'll never see the light of day again. So that's my first thought, because that's what they did with the laptop. The FBI came, they issued me a subpoena for the laptop, they took everything, but that subpoena was out of the Baltimore field office for a white collar crime. So if you want to hide a laptop, hide it in a case that has nothing to do with Hunter, in another case that has a lot of digital devices in it. So I've seen this kind of switch before, and I'm very suspect of it.
Mm-hmm. And so what you're saying is that the FBI didn't take this seriously at all.
Oh, no. My father first reached out to the FBI to try to give them a copy of the drive on October 9th of 2019. They refused. They kicked him out of his office. They told him to lawyer up. It was the most humiliating experience of my father, who's 31-year career colonel in the Air Force, has ever experienced. And then they were reluctant when they came to my house to take the laptop. And then finally, they came on December 9th of 2019 to take the laptop. And that's when they issued me the warning that nothing ever happens to people that don't talk about these things.
Wow. They actually said that to you?
Yeah, I mean, in their defense, I did crack a joke. I said, don't worry, lads, I'll leave your name out of the book when I write it.
Huh.
And that's when Agent Mike turned around and told me that nothing ever happens to people that don't talk about these things. And in hindsight, he was probably right. I did, out of respect, leave his name out of the book.
So I do want to just go back to one quick point that you made here, that we haven't actually, a conclusion that we haven't reached on the show, but I thought is absolutely fascinating. You think that they may be using the classified coverage of these documents to cover up more damning documents and to obscure them from congressional oversight.
Yeah, like the Penn Center, where the documents were first located 6 days before the Republicans would be elected to take the House. The Penn Center didn't exist when Joe Biden was vice president, so those documents had to end up there sometime in that 2 year period. So I'm very, you know, I'm very suspect to it all. I've seen the behavior of the Department of Justice and the FBI. The archives went after Trump, but now they're gladly helping up the Bidens. It just seems like it looks like the Justice Department is trying to convey a sense of balance, like they're executing justice equally on both sides. But when you peel away the layers, they're clearly not.
Do you believe that this has the capacity to ultimately take down the Biden administration?
I don't think this will. I think, if anything, this is the deep state's way of getting them out the door. I think that real justice is going to come from Congress, and then if they don't do it, I have my civil suits that I'm working on. So I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit, and until these people are held accountable.
Have you been contacted by Republican members of Congress to get your insight, information, perhaps to even testify?
I've been working with members of Congress for over half a year to make sure that they have all my resources. Every effort that I put in to prove the chain of custody, to prove that it was Hunter, everything that I built up for my fight against Twitter, that's not going to get wasted. Congress has all that. I mean, I wrote a book not just to share my story, defend my actions, and try to hold those accountable, but also to be the cliff notes for Congress so that they have a clear idea of what really happened.
Can you give me a summary here of American Injustice, which is available now?
It documents my interaction chronologically from the time Hunter Biden came into my shop until the time I was forced out of my home and forced to close my business and get on a plane and go into exile.
And I mean, do you hold any particular vengeance or vindictiveness towards the Biden family, or do you just want justice?
Well, I'm actively suing Hunter Biden, and along with Adam Schiff, Politico, CNN, and the campaign to elect Joe Biden, because they all perpetuated the notion that this was all Russian disinformation. And I'm not going to let my family's last name go down in history as colluding with a foreign power to affect election. I'm not going to let that happen, and I'm going to hold them accountable.
Wow. And can you give us a progress update on that lawsuit?
I think some of them are trying to get it dismissed. Some of them haven't even responded. So I learned from Twitter, this process is very slow, and I'm going to stay focused on working with Congress and let my lawyer handle the defamation suit.
Fantastic. All right. Well, without this information from Hunter Biden's laptop, we wouldn't be able to ask these questions. We wouldn't see inside of Joe Biden's garage. We wouldn't see these boxes of documents or these emails, these highly sophisticated, seemingly classified information emails about Burisma. I mean, we wouldn't know anything about that. Now, you went through that laptop, and then final question here. What is it on that laptop that perhaps hasn't boiled to the very top of public consciousness? What should we prepare for as like the next punch from the incredible horrors found therein?
Well, I think a lot of the media has covered, honest media has covered the contents of the laptop. I mean, obviously, I didn't go to the FBI because of a crackhead with a gun. I went to the FBI because I had fears for our nation's security. My personal fear that I haven't seen addressed is, like Hunter had an interaction with a bouncer. He had another bouncer friend that he was trying to get into a club. This other guy threw him out. And then he proceeded to demand that he gets his friend Frankie, the other bouncer, to give him the other bouncer's name so that he could have him killed. And he's like, seriously,
What?
I need to have him killed. Don't leave me like this. If you value our friendship, you'll give me his name. And I'm thinking to myself, if this is how this guy reacts to getting kicked out of a bar, how do you think he's going to react when he finds out that I handed his laptop to the FBI?
You fear for your life because of the
Yeah,
virus.
I don't leave my house.
This is not the country that we think it is. This is a much darker place, and somebody like yourself, sir, should be seen as a hero to the republic. All journalists should be singing your praises and should be protecting you. And we are happy to be counted among the few who deeply understand that truth is power, and that all reconciliation must have as a prerequisite truth, and you're providing truth and shining light on this family. And so we hope that you'll join us on the show regularly to do more of it. Thank you so much. American Injustice is available now. John Paul Mac Isaacs, the bravest man in America.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.